Okay, it's time to get started. Thank you so much for joining us for this web class. I promise you're going to learn a lot. You're going to have fun. And I have a feeling there's going to be some really great surprises for you. In fact, I have one specific surprise towards the end that you're going to love. So if you're ready, let's get started. You're going to learn how to start a successful career as a certified sport yoga instructor. If we haven't met yet, hi, I'm Dr. John Spencer Ellis. I have a really long name, so you can just call me JSE. I'm the CEO and founder of ENESTA and the Spencer Institute, as well as the complementary associations we have, the MMA Conditioning Association and ITCA, which is the International Triathlon Coaching Association. And with me right here in the office, I have your instructor, Aubrey Pohl. How are you?
Awesome. How are you?
I'm doing great. And right before we started this web class, you told me something that was really impressive. But I'm just going to, you're an NLP master practitioner, which is great for a yoga instructor because you have a very good command of language and using positive, empowering cues that get people better results.
Right.
And then obviously you're a yoga instructor, a movement specialist, primal movement patterns, sports conditioning, sports movement, you're a life coach. And not only are you a kettlebell competitor, I need to say it, kettlebell competitor, but you are say it.
World champion kettlebell competitor.
That is so awesome. I mean, that's really, really impressive. And I actually just learned that before we started the class here. So I knew you're super strong. And the poses you do, and you look athletic and you're strong, but holy cow, world champion, that's really, really impressive. If I had known that, I would have put that on this slide and said world champion kettlebell competitor. Holy cow. It really is. You should be super proud of that. That's amazing.
I am.
And it's that strength that you transfer into a lot of the things you do, and then you can help other people get strong too. Or if they have that type of kettlebell strength or Olympic lifting or powerlifting or whatever, how do you translate it into movement patterns that work?
100%.
All right.
Exactly.
All right. So Aubrey's going to chime in a lot in just a few slides because she's going to be breaking down a lot of the movements for you. Basically, you're going to get a mini class here. Obviously, a lot of the training is on video, but in the manual, and now we're going to break down some pictures so you can kind of understand how she will teach as well. So the 4 core components of this web class are education, certification, career options, and making money. Now, a lot of people will say, I do yoga because I love the yoga lifestyle. I love helping people. I love fitness. Yes, me too. And you also have to put food on your table, provide for you and your family, and the more you make, the more you can give back to your charity and the people you love and the things that are most important to you. So you can't give what you don't have. You need to be able to make a good living so you can provide more for the people who need your support. So that's why all of this matters. So think about this. You can now become a more complete and highly skilled coach or trainer. I'm not sure exactly what your background is. You might call yourself an instructor as well. By adding this distinguished coaching credential to your resume, this specific training separates you from other trainers, instructors, and coaches because you can't learn this anywhere else. It's very special. Now, there are no recertification requirements. So this is a one-time program. However, of course, we always encourage you to get additional education. We are always educating ourselves, formally, informally, through institutions, associations, podcasts, books, workshops, seminars, retreats. However you do it, keep learning. But there's no specific requirement once you earn this credential. And there are no prerequisites. However, if you have done martial arts, Pilates, yoga, sports conditioning, personal training, if you have medical training, all those sorts of things can help because you're going to understand the anatomy better. You're going to have different ability to move, but none of it's required because Aubrey takes you step by step, teaches you progressions and exceptions and exemptions and modifications for you and your clients wherever you each are at. And that's what matters most. So the learning format is a self-paced 100% online format. Materials include multiple in-depth training videos, comprehensive digital manual, a non-proctored online exam. Internet access is required, and content is provided to you in an online format, which is accessed through an online secure website. You get a private and secure login. And there is a 100-question exam. It's non-proctored, so you get to take that at home, and you have to get 7 out of every 10 questions correct, so 70% or higher. You get 3 attempts at the exam, and your results are known immediately. And you can get your digital certification immediately, passing the exam, and then the formal one with the signatures and the official seal is mailed to you shortly thereafter. There's Aubrey looking very zen-like. So you will earn the title of Certified Sport Yoga Instructor after successful completion of the exam and all the training requirements. And it's a beautiful certificate, too. A lot of people are very proud of it. You know, when it arrives, it has the beautiful holographic seal and all the official signatures, and it's done in a very beautiful presentation folder and on a nice parchment paper. It's really, really beautiful. Something you'll be proud of. You're going to learn proven techniques to help your clients attain optimal weight, understand motivational strategies, and design a healthy lifestyle. Yoga is a lifestyle. Now, for some people, it's just, and Aubrey's going to talk about this a little bit later because she's going to have a huge chunk of time here in this webinar. I'm not omitting her, I promise you. But yoga for a lot of people is a lifestyle, and for some people, it's more than that. It is their life. And for other people, it is a great 10, 15, 20, 30, or 60-minute segment of their day where they get to feel good and let go of the outside world. And so whatever it is for you, we want you to be able to embrace it and help your clients embrace it as well, so everyone benefits to a maximum based on how they want to utilize this information and benefit from your knowledge. You're going to increase your professional credibility and earning potential. Why? Because you're going to be a better instructor, and we're going to teach you how to grow your career. You can start a lucrative coaching business from your home or expand an existing fitness career in a health club, fitness center, or gym. You can also instruct people online, and you can also do yoga retreats and seminars and workshops. And I don't even know if I ever told you this, Aubrey, but I used to do yoga classes up at my mountain retreat up in Big Bear, which is about halfway between where we're at in Southern California and Las Vegas. If people aren't familiar with that. At 7,000 feet, even a yoga flow, you can get a little out of breath.
Yeah.
So you're going to learn about specific considerations. People with back pain, they're going to have limited range of motion. Maybe there's non-symmetry and they can bend or lean to one side better than the other. And how do you address those sorts of things? Limited range of motion because of trauma, arthritis, age sometimes. Obviously, that can be a factor. Not always, but it can be. Pregnancy, sports needs, and more. So through our step-by-step professional sport yoga instructor training program, you will take control of your fitness or coaching career and help your clients achieve their flexibility, stress management, fitness, and wellness goals using the latest proven teaching techniques. And this new program is super comprehensive. Not only is Aubrey an incredible instructor and the video production quality is very high-end, the science, the lectures, the breakdown, the teaching methodologies is all really, really good. I'm super impressed with the whole thing. I think this is absolutely one of our leading programs with ENESTA and the Spencer Institute. I'm just really proud of it. And so thank you, Aubrey, for doing such an awesome job.
Thank you.
All right. So now we're in your world.
Yes.
So why don't you break this down? The first thing I see is that your spine is very straight. So what are some of the teaching elements with this pose here?
Awesome. Well, this pose is Malasana, so it's our squat pose, and squat is just such a natural human movement, right? We always squat, so it is important that maybe you were squatting in a beneficial movement pattern. So in Sport Yoga, we'll learn a beneficial movement pattern for a squat. Specifically right here, I have the neutral spine, and noticing that the heels are on the ground. So that allows for a good amount of dorsiflexion in the ankles, and with both the hips hinged and a good dorsiflexion, the knees are a little bit more protected. And you also want to look at the nice upright posture through the chest, nice curve in the back of the neck, nice neutral head too. It's not looking too high up or too far down. And mostly you can just see that it's not too strenuous of a position. It should be a more natural position, and this pose is going to look different for everyone.
Right. And the width of their stance that is required to get to that position as well.
Yes.
What's interesting to me, and we're going to move on. We have several more slides here, but I always find this interesting. A lot of people think incorrectly that you can't or shouldn't squat that low, but our body was meant to do that. It's only in the last 100 years or 200 years that we've changed our mechanics for the worse because of how we function and how we sit and how we move and the length of travel and all those things that have now prohibited some people from moving like this. But this is the way we're supposed to move.
Yes, definitely. And there's a lot of variations to be able to get there. And even though this might not be the exact ideal posture for every other unique individual, it's going to be the one that's most comfortable for them. We can put blocks underneath the hips. You can start slow. You can lower down throughout the process. So it's all a journey.
That's well said. It's definitely a journey. All right. So we have some inversions here.
Yes, definitely. So we have headstand right here. It's my friend Jilly. And you can see her posture is really aligned. She's doing a great job of keeping the hips over the shoulders and then the ankles over the hips. There are a few adjustments we can make over time. You know, she pushes through her heels a little bit more to straighten out those legs, but she's very supportive with her head. She's using her shoulders to lift a little bit out of her neck.
Okay.
So the muscles in her core and her back are supporting her head.
Excellent. And then, wow. What do you call that one? Because it's a variation.
Yeah. So this one's a forearm stand, and so it's a variation of the different inversions, Pinchamayurasana. And you can see that the shoulders are stacked over the elbows, and the wrists are extended from the elbows. Nice, strong posture.
And your fingers are fanned out too to disperse pressure. That's really matters, right?
Definitely. You can use the very tips of your fingertips to help with the balance of this posture. And this is one that you would maybe start next to a wall and use your feet, kick your feet up against the wall, and then over time learn how to really stack the hips directly over the shoulders using the core strength to keep that balance.
Wow. Very, very cool. And I need to practice that one. I haven't done that for a while. And I know it's tough. But you show the progressions,
yes.
right?
Yes.
Not everyone can do it. Not everyone should do it. And when people start to do it, they start slow.
Yes.
All right. Working out on the beach here.
Oh, yeah.
So what do you have here?
Right here we have two different variations for a lunge. So Anjaneyasana. And you can see the hips are pointed forward, the knee is directly over the ankle. It's not caving in or out too much. Core is engaged, an upright chest, a smile on my face.
It helps.
Yes, it does. And then the other variation, my arms overhead to extend through the shoulders a little bit.
So when you extend your arms up, do you then depress the scapula? I mean, you do that at some point, right? Yes,
definitely. You want to keep the engagement through the lats, through the rhomboids to direct the scapula down the back a little bit so you find more space in the neck.
Okay, excellent. And when we were going through this and developing this web class, I told you I like this pose because I've done so many different martial arts, and any standing martial art, and some of the grappling type of arts do this as well, but essentially every type of martial art that is kicking and punching and elbows and knees does this stretch either as some type of dynamic warm-up or a cool down sequence to slow the breathing and just kind of unwind. So I really like this one. So what do you call this?
This one, it's a side lunge. And I do agree that we find this a lot in human movement patterns and martial arts. To me, there's something very powerful about this pose. Very strong through the legs. We're expanding our legs. We're nice, proud chest. You can expand the arms out into the warrior postures that we find in yoga.
Okay.
Yeah.
I need to do that. I actually do it just like that, and then just really try to sink my hips as low as possible because I want to get my kick as high as possible.
Exactly. You gain a lot of hip mobility, a lot of neuromuscular control over the range of motion in your hips. That translates really well to kicking.
Yeah, and I'm thinking for tennis too. I mean, man, if you could reach across the court and slide and get one before it goes out of bounds and keep it in play, you're going to be doing that kind of motion. That's actually a little exaggerated, but if you can do this, then going halfway down under stress will be no stress.
Exactly. Yep. Very good.
That looks beautiful and powerful.
This is probably one of my favorite postures, Natarajasana. It's a dancer's posture. And it can be done in many different ways. This is a little bit, it took me some time to get here, let's just say that. The shoulder mobility, and you can kick one leg up. You can grab the foot with one hand and have the other hand forward. A lot of different variations we can use with this. The chest can be more down, the leg can be more up.
And so how do you flow in and out of this, or do you just hold it?
Either or. So you can flow in and out of it, usually from Tadasana, mountain pose, standing posture. You would direct one leg back, grab one arm back, and then have the legs start to reach towards the sky.
Wow. That looks cool and challenging.
Yeah.
Now, I just seen, like, you look so strong there. That looks like it's very, very strong and obviously a lot of balance.
Yes. I love this one. Utthita Hasta Padagustasana.
Wow.
So extended hand to big toe grab. And a lot of engagement in the standing leg to really stack the hips over the leg to create the support in the core to hold the balance. And then, of course, the hip mobility and flexibility to extend the other leg up and grab it with the hand. Very,
very cool. Do you, or could you, have a dynamic flow from a forward, so the elevated leg, we're holding the great toe, could you start anterior and then bring it out laterally and inhale or exhale, depending on what your movement is, and then exhale or inhale back to the center and just kind of move out like in this 90-degree pattern?
Yes, exactly. And that's the beauty about a lot of these postures in sport yoga is the opportunity to transition in a really slow manner to hold postures. There's a lot of different variations to work with in all of these postures.
And then whatever sport you want to enhance, if that is your goal, you can make those adjustments based on what you know to be true as the athlete or practitioner in that sport.
Exactly. Look at the movement patterns you want to enhance and reflect that in the sport yoga class.
Awesome. Well said. And this looks like some type of shoulder mobility.
Yep. Increasing the range of motion in the shoulder joint. So in that ball and socket joint, and through this motion, you go into internal rotation and external rotation while trying to keep that neutral spine. So you're just isolating the shoulder joint.
Got it. And obviously I see a lot of energy through the fingertips, and you're stacking the shoulder on top of the wrist. So all those little things are what people need to pay attention to as well. And obviously that's what you're breaking down in the class.
Yeah.
I see a piriformis stretch.
Yes, definitely. So figure four or single leg squat. So a lot of this, you can stretch that outer glute. And you're also working that one-legged balance. And you're really noticing the foot strength and that outer thigh strength in this one.
Looks very, very cool. And you could just flow back and forth, or you could do it as a progression.
Yes, you can hold this posture, or you can go from standing. You can even sit lower in this posture.
Yeah, I'm imagining doing a deep lunge with like fingertips on the ground, like almost like a hurdler stretch.
Yeah.
And then go to the one on the left, and then the one on the right, and then transition back out and flow all the way back down. Like, and just those three, right?
Yep.
Right?
Yep, exactly.
That could work. That would be good for actually people who do track and field and hurdles, because you need to move. Yeah, you need to have internal and external rotation of the hip joint if you're going to hurdle.
Right. That's why these aren't just postures, sport yoga postures. They are postures for life and movement and all different kinds of implementations of them.
Very cool. This looks like definitely a core strengthening exercise with a little bit of rotation.
Whew, yeah, this one wakes your core up. It's a lot of fun. And you can enter it from down dog. That's usually the way I go with this. And one leg, you touch the elbow. You can touch the other elbow. You can move down to the wrist. And it works your upper core, your obliques, transverse abdominals, all kinds of core.
Yeah, and I see that I'm looking at your rear foot there, the supporting foot. It's super flexed in the toe to really reach forward. And I would imagine that you could probably adjust the depth of your stretch, too, by moving the foot back even more.
Yes, that would definitely extend the back of the leg. The heel up gave me a little bit more left hip flexion.
Got it.
To work my lower belly. Definitely put the heel down. That would give a slightly different effect.
Okay. And a big part of the Sport Yoga program is also teaching how to make adjustments. Do you call it an adjustment of adjusting a pose? Is that the word you use?
Yeah,
okay.
Definitely.
So adjusting the pose or the posture. So when you're cueing someone, and I know it depends on the type of pose you're doing, but what are the things that you want them to think about? Do you think about how it feels to them, how it looks, or both? Or is there an order in how you explain it?
Yes. So the most important thing is that we want to accommodate the posture to the person, not the person to the posture. So we're making sure that we are moving the person in front of us towards a more beneficial movement pattern that feels good in their body. There are some more important cues to realize, like not having the whole vagus knee if the knee were caving inward and she would be resting on her inner foot. So right here, I'm making sure that her knee is lined up, it's facing forward, that the kneecap's facing forward, that she's stabilizing through both sides of the foot, through both sides of the leg, to really hold that strong posture where the joint is in a safe area.
And I see her posture is still good, even though she's looking down to understand what you're saying.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, sometimes their neck's going to be forward a little bit. That's great, too.
Okay. This looks like some type of sequence for a primal movement pattern.
Whew, okay, this one's fun. It's called a kick sit, and it's more of a explosive movement pattern. So you switch from this side to a reflection on the other side pretty fast, and you're using that back leg, and a lot of it is core and the rotational muscles that we have in the core to be able to switch from one side to the other.
And from wrestling, or sometimes they'll do it in jiu-jitsu, that's a sit-out movement.
Exactly. That's where this came from.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay, excellent. Oh, we're on the same page.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's and that is a very beneficial movement if you're a grappler.
Yeah, and again, you can take this posture and slow it down. And you can slow it down and work the strength of the transition between the two, or you can go into the power energy system and really just be explosive and do so many of these in a minute.
Very, very cool. Wow, full splits and then some.
Yeah. Hanumanasana. So this one's great, and noticing that over time the range of motion expands. So starting with half splits, which is one of the other postures in sport yoga, and keeping the hips up, extending the hamstring, and then working towards this full split. And then over time, maybe extending the back leg even more.
Okay, excellent. That looks very challenging, and it's also graceful. Now, do you do this more static or flowing?
Both. I think it's a really good one to flow in and out of and to hold. And so from Tadasana, the standing posture, you can start to transition your weight forward and then kick your leg back and find that balance. Like it's almost shaped as a T. Hold it there, but then also learn how to transition slowly out of it.
And that looks like a very Zen-like modified tree pose.
Yes. That's exactly what I would call that. Little mudras with the hand, keeping the foot away from the leg just to add a little bit more strength in that right hip.
Okay. Oh, I see what you're talking about. Yeah. And then ideally, too, you have it perpendicular to the supporting leg.
Yes.
And then ideally, I'm guessing, you correct me if I'm wrong, you want it completely opened up out to the side if possible.
Yes. And see, I'm still on a journey with mine.
It's a process.
Yeah.
Looks like a more of a relaxed lunge, open chest.
Yes, definitely. Working that hip flexor on the left side. So just lowering the back knee, not so much strength for this one, but more active mobility and flexibility. And then opening up the shoulders into that external rotation, keeping the upper back with the shoulder blades towards the center. Just nice, proud chest.
And so I'm guessing that you could, a lot of people have probably done something similar to this if they're trying to work on the psoas. Mm-hmm. And so they would raise, in this case, it would be your left hand, palm up and back. Yes. To open that up. So you could definitely do that and rotate back as well, right?
Yes, exactly. That would definitely deepen the fascial line on the left side.
You know, and sometimes, like, this is not advanced. This is more basic, and it still matters.
Yes, because nowadays we tend to be sitting up or, couch, computer, car, cell phone. We're in this forward facing. So this one's really important to get that lateral line, the whole side body stretched. So if you lean to the side, you can see all the way from the right elbow to the right ankle as a nice big stretch.
All right. Now, this is a plow, and I know people have strong opinions about this. And one of the things is probably people say, well, I don't know if that's good for your neck, or that could hurt my neck, or it hurt my neck. But talk about how you modify this with a bolster under the shoulders.
Yeah, well, modifying with the bolster underneath the shoulders will help take a little bit of the flexion out of the neck. It'll put more cushion into the area, especially if we are looking at someone that doesn't have strong core or lower back to be able to support this posture. It'll tend to dump towards the neck. So again, approach with caution, approach slowly, work with where the body is at today. And this would definitely be over time lowering the feet towards the ground.
Yeah, you're not all the way over now anyway. I mean, you have no exaggerated forward flexion of the chin at all.
Right, and there's no need.
Or the neck with the chin, I should say.
My feet can go down, but the posture is less beneficial for me that way. So when I come out of it and, check my ego, come into this space where it feels good. So that's really important about postures. If they feel good, that does tell you a lot about how you're approaching it.
I love what you just said. I check my ego.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to dissect that from a less yoga perspective. But I totally get what you're saying. Our ego is always there, and we want to say, I know, I want to see what I can do, and I see what someone else can do in the class, so I want to see how far I can push myself. Even if it's not the best choice for your body, it might be asking too much. But if you let that go and come back to this position rather than all the way over to like a plow, and like with toes on the ground and really forward flexed neck, you're probably going to serve yourself better.
Yep.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and that is what yoga is all about, and still it's a challenge.
Because every day is different. So learning how to really be in the moment with our body and learn what our body is responding to that day rather than, I remember last week I could put my feet to the ground. That doesn't matter. What matters is how I can make my body feel good in the moment.
Yeah, and since this is sport yoga and we have a lot of athletes and we have a lot of martial artists in our mix, I'll give the example of how I do that within martial arts is some days, man, I just don't feel like I can punch hard, kick hard, grapple aggressive, and so I do what's called a basics and foundation day. I just made that up. You can use that word, but basically I'll just go and do everything at a foundational level, like literally white belt foundation for each of the disciplines I've learned. What's the basic? How do I stand? How do I breathe? What are the fundamental movements? And I don't challenge myself, and I just move through all primary movements for an hour, and I'm done, and that's it.
Wow, I love that. That's awesome.
But it's tough because I want to make progress every day. But sometimes going back to the basics allows you to make progress because sometimes you allow the basics to lapse over time. Is that the right way to say it? Yeah. It's not as sharp as it could be, and then everything you build upon that is not as sharp.
Yeah.
Until you go back and sharpen the sword.
Yep.
Spinal twist.
Yes. Ardha Matsyendrasana. So I love this one, and over time, really the goal is to just lengthen the spine. So the elbow doesn't necessarily need to be outside of the leg. It can be inside of the leg, but you can see that my shoulders are still aligned, and if one shoulder was pushing far forward, I'd be trying too much to twist from the shoulders. So twisting from behind the belly button and that mid-spine really allows this posture to receive its benefits.
When I do this type of movement, I find that when I pull in my navel as far as I can while I inhale on the beginning entrance into the twist and then release it, once I'm deep in the twist, it allows my rib cage and everything to move over further without being encumbered. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yep, exactly.
Okay, good.
Yes, that's a very good cue, too.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, when I start and I'm neutral, like my leg may be up as yours is there, but I'm still facing my extended leg and the toes. But I'll inhale, pull in the belly, and lift and become tall before I exhale and twist deep.
Yep, inhale, lengthen, exhale, twist. Inhale, find the space. Exhale, move into the space.
Okay. All right, cool.
Yeah.
We're on the same page.
Yeah.
This looks like a powerful pose. I mean, I'm thinking like inline skaters, cyclists, people, again, tennis, wrestlers too. They gotta get down for the shot.
Yeah, anyone who needs strong legs, really, or hip mobility and the ability to keep that strong range of motion within the hips as you're going through the movement. So this is a good foundational posture too. And with reaching the arms out, it does extend that fascial line a little bit more to redirect the balance to a spot where you need to engage your core.
And I was just thinking, I mean, this is a bit off track, but I find it interesting. You can see the texture and the firmness of the sand. You know, you're here at the beach. This was shot in Southern California. We're right above Newport Beach, if you guys are just curious. It's very pretty there. If you look at the arch of your supporting leg, the sand actually gives you foundation, but grounding yourself, rooting yourself in these different textures also strengthens your feet in different ways as well, as opposed to just a sticky mat.
Yeah, definitely. That's why practicing yoga on the beach is fun sometimes.
And sometimes just in a grassy area, but you just want to make sure that it's clean and, you know, safe and level also.
Yeah.
All right, so another lunging sequence here.
Yep, another version of Anjaneyasana, this time with the arms extended upwards and then forward. That'll load that front leg a little bit more so you can work on the contraction of the quadriceps and the foot muscles. Keep it sturdy.
And the biggest challenge for people here, with what my experience has been, is keeping the head neutral while also bringing the arms extended so they're closer to parallel with your ears. That's the hardest part, especially when someone's as muscular as you are. That's a super challenging thing to do. Their arms tend to be forward, almost like they're going to shake someone's hand.
Yeah, and you can see there are foundational postures in yoga that are reflected in many other postures. So you can essentially see down dog with the arms extended to the hips. So when you're working down dog, you're working that overhead movement. And so over time, you will get the mobility of the back to keep the arms straight next to the ears.
Yeah, it's just that gravity works in your favor on down dog.
Yeah, exactly.
So a lunging sequence with some spinal twisting?
Yeah, really good for the spine and to get that healthy rotation of the spine with the irradiation of the shoulder muscles. You can see my fingertips are all spread. There's irradiation throughout my fingertips.
Everything's stacked?
Everything's stacked, and the posture is really supported with the foundation through the feet and the legs.
For me, for martial arts conditioning, I like doing this one breath per cycle and just waver back and forth from twisted to traditional or regular.
Ooh, that's really good.
And just ride the wave of your breath back and forth. One wave, one breath, one movement, back and forth, maybe 10 times on each, switch legs, and then that's part of a dynamic warm-up sequence for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
Shoulder mobility.
Shoulder mobility. This one especially, it's in one of the practice videos, a radiation of the muscles. So I'm really squeezing through the core, the biceps, the shoulders. This is going to bring a lot of activation of the back muscles. So it's kind of like when you flex in the mirror. You're just really flexing and moving your body through the different ranges of motions to get the neuromuscular connection going.
Very, very cool. And so you can tell, by the way, that she's teaching this. She knows her stuff. And also, we go into the science of all this in the program, too. So if you thought this was going to be like fluffy Om yoga stretching, you can do that if you want to, but you're also going to learn some hard science, some biomechanics, kinesiology associated with this, because we believe that all the science, the hard science that substantiates and validates the benefits of yoga is a critical aspect of this. And then all that also allows you to better understand the direct sports applications.
Yeah, and once you understand those concepts, you can really find the freedom and the flexibility to create those sport yoga classes.
Adjustment. So in this picture, she's not quite all the way there yet. I'm sure she technically can do this, but you're giving examples for the demonstration because I was there during the video shoot. I know she actually has the ability to do this, but you're giving this example here. So what are the things for this is a down dog. So what are the things that you're looking for here, and why are the knees bent and so forth?
Yeah, definitely. So as we're working with clients as a sport yoga instructor, you meet them where they're at and then maybe lead them through little adjustments that'll be helpful for them in the moment. So we want to keep her lower back nice and long. I'm gently tilting her tailbone back to an anterior tilt of the pelvis so her lower back can be nice and long. Her knees are bent to allow the hamstrings to still extend, but not so much that the lower back is compensated. It gives enough room for the lower back to be long and the hamstrings to still be stretched.
Right. Okay. And then, of course, if you guys will learn more of this functional anatomy as well, but because of, well, in yoga they call it the sit bones, but the origin of the hamstring muscles is going to pull down on the pelvis, causing the pelvis to tilt posterior, and that's going to round the lumbar, and we don't want that to happen. So by bending the knees, it takes off just enough stress that the pelvis can tip anterior and keep the back flat, because, correct me if I'm wrong, but the first objective should be to get the back flat, and then only after that, then you can straighten out the knees.
Yeah, I would say that because we tend to, these days, find our spine rounded so much. So really use this as an opportunity to find the strength and the connection to make that lower back nice and long.
Got it. So you might be wondering, well, what is my scope of practice? And this is a common question among all types of health, fitness, wellness, sports conditioning people. And in full transparency, there's always a little bit of debate about this. And if you ask other people, they may say and give other examples. What I'm telling you is what is safe and will keep you out of trouble. And that's a good place to be, and it will keep everyone else safe as well. One thing is undeniable and unwavering, and that is that you cannot diagnose, treat, or prescribe. You can't diagnose someone's illness or ailment. You need to know to refer. You need to know your scope. Are you a certified athletic trainer, a physical therapist, a physician's assistant, a nurse practitioner, or a medical doctor, a chiropractor? Great. Then you know what your scope of practice is. If you're not one of those things, you can't do this. You cannot diagnose, treat, or prescribe. Okay? So just know that. You cannot just avoid those three things and those three words. You are helping educate people on proper movement. You want to refer to a medical professional when it is appropriate. You're not going to try to treat an ailment without understanding what the doctor wants or does not want or has given instruction for. Be safe, be cautious. And of course, you're not going to prescribe anything in particular that could change their body's chemistry or somehow interfere pre or post-operative and things like that as well. So be cautious. Things like that only come into account maybe 1 out of 100 times, but you still need to know exactly how this works. And also get medical clearance for pregnancy. A lot of pregnant ladies like doing yoga because it's non-impact. They often have a lot of stress because it's a challenging time in their life, even though it's an exciting time. So make sure you get medical clearance if someone's pregnant. And of course, you want to avoid anything overly challenging or maybe something that would affect balance if they're pregnant, or also inversions because of blood pressure changes, things like that. But get medical clearance. And remember, this is not personal training or Pilates. You're not learning how to do Pilates. Pilates instructors don't know how to do yoga. Although you're going to be more equipped than someone who hasn't had that training. I get it. I understand. Still, you're not a Pilates instructor. We have a Pilates course if you want that. You're not a personal trainer. We have a personal training certification if you want that. But know your wheelhouse. Stay in your wheelhouse. This is yoga. And it has applications, and personal trainers can benefit from this. Pilates instructors can benefit from this, but know your strengths, know your scope of practice, and just think ahead and be smart. Very simple. So here's what you might be wondering. Well, how do I get clients? Great question. And it also depends on how you're going to run your business. But look, if you're going to work at a health club, a gym, or a spa, or a yoga studio as an employee, they're going to bring you your clients. In some cases, you may work in one of those facilities as a contractor, and you may be asked to also help bring in clients yourself. I know some health clubs, I was just speaking to someone the other day, and I'm not going to mention the name of the facility, but they actually wanted to have them sign an agreement that said they would promote their classes on social media. And I'm not sure exactly how that works, and I don't know how common that is, but every facility is different, but social media is a brilliant way to get clients. One of the easiest ways to get a client, especially for yoga, is teach one yoga posture a day on a Facebook Live video. Something that people haven't done before. Here's a lunging sequence that would help martial arts. That would be the one I would do. So, or here's a yoga breathing technique that will lower your blood pressure and reduce your stress. And maybe you do it every morning, like at 8 o'clock, and you come on live and do a live meditation with people on Facebook. How simple is that? And then you can do a call to action for whatever your program is that you're offering. But offer something of value first. Show your expertise. Give first. You cannot take from the well if you do not fill it up first. So, or you cannot take from the bank account if you do not fill out the bank account. So pay it forward first by adding value, showing your expertise, giving of yourself to others. And do it digitally through social media because 99% of it's free. It's easy. You can be omnipresent. Your friends and clients and prospects are already there. So just get out there and do it. The biggest challenge people have with this is sometimes they say, well, I'm not sure if I feel comfortable on camera. You know what? You're going to have to get over it because you're going to be up in front of a class. And it's great practice as well. And the more you get on camera, the more you teach, the more you speak, the more confident you become, the better instructor you become, the better you become at cueing, the more your classes are going to be full, the more money you can make, and the more impact you can make in the world. It's literally that simple. That's the order of operation. That's the way it works. So yes, and can you also get clients from handing out flyers? Yes. Can you do word of mouth? Yes. Can you do referrals? Yes. It's a little bit different, but when I was a personal trainer back in the day, when there would be like a 5K, 10K triathlon event or whatever it is around town, I would I'd find out who is promoting the event, who is the event organizer and manager, and I would do the warm-ups for the events. So you could do a dynamic sport yoga warm-up that is, obviously it's going to be a little more flow. It's going to have less static because it needs to be dynamic because it's a sports event. But you could do a sport yoga dynamic warm-up for the event, and then everyone knows you. You're wearing your T-shirt. You put it on social media. Heck, you could broadcast that live on Facebook as well. And then you take all the pictures. Then you have all these pictures of you teaching hundreds of people at an event. Now you have social proof that people follow you. This kind of stuff is not difficult. Aubrey's looking at me smiling, saying, oh my gosh, I'm going to start doing this, right?
Exactly, taking notes.
All right, cool. So what do you need to do to start your business? Now, this picture shows a business plan. It says mission, market analysis, strategy. I'm not sure what that other segment says there. Listen, if you do a 30-page business plan, you are wasting your time and it's not needed. The only time you need a business plan is if you're going to get funding from a bank, you're trying to get a business loan, or maybe you're trying to get an investor for something and they want a business plan. Other than that, honestly, write it down on a piece of paper. You do need a mission statement. You need to have your logo. You need to have your fonts. You need to have your typography, whatever your look and feel is going to be. You need to have a professional photo shoot. You need to have your social media in order. And that sort of thing. You need to know who your competitors are, and you can learn from your competitors. Don't steal, but be inspired. That's much better. And just go and run with it. And sometimes people overthink this, and they think they need a big business plan because they talked to someone who had an MBA from some prestigious institution. And honestly, oftentimes those people are wrong. That is the truth. You don't need it for this. You just don't, unless you're taking on funding from someone. Or you're trying to get a loan from the bank, or maybe you're going to open up a center and the people that are going to provide you with the opportunity need a more comprehensive business plan. Yes, in those cases, it's warranted. But the thing is, too, business moves too fast. What if you did a marketing plan the year before Facebook Live came out, but you figured out it's locked in place, it's not fluid. Oh, no, now I can't do Facebook Live. So think about how fast social media changes. How fast does technology change? Imagine if someone started a business right before the advent of doing a web class like this, and they say, well, how am I going to present information to people? And you didn't even know this kind of thing existed, this technology existed. You have to be fluid and dynamic, just like yoga, and move quickly and be malleable. Look at all these yoga references. I didn't even know that was going to happen. But it really is true. Don't get stuck with a dogmatic perspective and perception of what you need to do for your business. Those kind of businesses die because people get left behind because they get too caught up in an idea. They get too attached to their idea. And then when something happens, then they feel stuck. And you're never stuck. It's always in your head. And if you stick too much to a business plan that doesn't take new things into consideration, you're going to be in trouble. So I think I beat that one to death, but I feel I'm very passionate about it. So the next question is, do you need a business license? And the answer is maybe. You might need one. A business license is either handed out by a city or a county, sometimes a state. Now, if you live in another country, it's going to vary. In some areas, like the area that our offices are in, they don't require a business license. They require, I should say, what's called an occupancy permit, but it is not a business license. And in some cases, the city is unincorporated, so it's defaulted to the county guidelines. But I was just talking to someone in one of my coaching groups yesterday, and they just got a business license for their wellness center, and yoga is going to be one of the things they offer. It was $40. And I said, $40 a year? And she said, no, $40 forever. That was it, $40. Incredible. So this is not cost prohibitive. Just follow the guidelines. Be compliant. It's not a big deal. Just find out, is it required? And if so, who requires it? Pay the darn fee and move on. So how much money can you make? $1 billion. Actually, there is no limit. If someone says, why are you going to become a yoga instructor? You can only make X number of dollars. That is not true, and I feel sorry for those people because they're uninformed. You literally can do anything you want. You are limited by your creativity, your willingness to work hard, and your willingness to serve others. That's it. Now, if you work at a gym and you're only going to work 10 hours a week and you get paid $25 a class, you're going to make $250 a week. I mean, so that is finite. So there is that. However, we're going to talk about some different ways you can make money here, but literally you can do anything you want. You can make any amount of money you want. I'm not going to name names, but I do know some people in the yoga industry that make over $1 million a year. Yes, I know that's unusual, but yes, it's true. And you can do a lot with yoga. Actually, I know someone who made an online yoga program, and I think they were doing $10,000 a month with their online yoga program.
Awesome.
Yeah. So there are a ton of ways to do this. So please realize there's lots of opportunity. You can do one-on-one instruction. The benefit to this is that you get to bond with the people, and you can really connect, and you can take the time, and it's more intimate experience for the person who's working with you. The downfall is there's only so many hours in the day. There's only so many days in the week or hours in the day that you can do yoga. After a while, you're going to overtrain. And so you're going to end up doing a lot of adjustments and less practice. So you have to be careful with that as well. But if you want to mix this in because you enjoy it and you charge what you're worth, then I think it's just fine. Group instruction can be done. Well, you know what? You do group instruction at. Why don't you talk about that and tell them what you do?
Definitely. So right now I do group instruction as my main gig, both at a fitness center and at a drug and alcohol rehab. And in that opportunity, I teach sport yoga postures and sport yoga concepts and ideas and classes to the people at the rehab, and they receive a lot of benefits from it, both in a physiological level, the way they move their body, and in a mental level, in the way they're healing from things they've been through.
And that allows you to give back. Now,
yes.
There's both good and bad with this. One is you're not going to make a fortune teaching yoga at a drug rehab facility unless you own the drug rehab facility.
Yeah.
But it fills your heart,
Yes.
and it makes you feel good, and they are grateful.
Yes.
And that's worth something as well. So if that is your only focus, you're going to have a full heart and an empty bank account, right? And then you only can do it for so long.
Uh-huh.
So it's very important. This especially because people are so heart-centered with yoga and other mind-body practices. It's very, very important to remember that there is a financial component. It's okay to get paid what you're worth. It's okay to have financial abundance because then you can give back more. You can do more. What is your favorite charity? Whatever you want to do and contribute. You can't give what you don't have. And sometimes people just want to give all the time, and then they have nothing left for themselves, and they're exhausted, and their car's broken down and everything else because all they want to do is give. Mm-hmm. Make sure you have the ability to design the life you want, and then that gives you more comfort and ease to also be able to give back to others. You have to be able to do both, and both are important. But sometimes, especially in this community, they just want to serve, which is noble and it's kind. And they also sometimes get to the end of their yoga career and say, wow, I don't have all the things in life I want or need. And so it's really important to have that balance. And, you know, if charity is important to you, and it is very important to me, the more I make, the more I can give, the more I can give back. And that fills my heart.
Yeah, I really appreciate that mindset and way of looking at this.
Yeah, and that's in this community specifically, there is a bias towards just giving. It's not about the money. And I understand that, and I can appreciate that. And also, you get to a certain point in your life, and you say, I need to earn what I'm worth. I have worked so hard. I should have more so I can live more, give more, travel more, experience more, whatever it is. And so you can't do only charity. It needs to be an integral part. It's noble, it's kind, it's generous, and it needs to be one aspect, not the only aspect. Yeah.
Yes.
But you can do group instruction in a park, on the beach, in a gym. I used to have a part of my home gym in one of my first homes when I was a personal trainer is I had half of it yoga and half of it strength training. And I even had a ballet bar in there and everything.
Cool.
It was really neat. And back then I did body work, and so I would do manual therapy on people, yoga, corrective exercise, strength training, and I had it all in one spot. And I did this out of a 2-car garage, which is 20 by 20 feet, 400 square feet. So only 200 square feet was for yoga, but the most I worked with is 2 people at a time. Wow. And so that's fine. You can put 3 mats down easily in that space. Yeah. So you have lots of options. We're getting a little off track, but we're excited.
Yes, super excited.
So look, online coaching. You can use Zoom video. The web address for that is zoom.us. Zoom, just like it sounds, ZOOM.us. You can do in-person coaching, counseling. If you do wellness, personal training, or whatever, you can do online with that. There are numerous other platforms where you can do online coaching live, and you can also record them, and people can buy the training in bundles too. You can do, and I'll give you an example that is unrelated to yoga, but you can easily see the translation. There's a guy that I take online guitar lessons from. His name's Marty. Marty's Guitar Lessons on YouTube.
Yeah, I've seen him.
Oh, you've seen Marty. He's awesome. He always wears a cool hat.
Yeah.
All right. So you know what I'm talking about. So, oh, that's right. You play guitar too. I forgot. Cool. All right. We're going to have to jam.
Yeah.
So I said, well, I want to learn a song from Incubus. And so he'll do a basic chord progression for Incubus or something. And then he'll say, if you want to learn the advanced chord progression or finger picking or blah, 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 or the bass notes for this, come on over to Marty's Guitar, blah, 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 blah. And that's how he makes money. He does free videos, basic on YouTube, with a call to action for his paid online coaching program. And you can do the same thing. Here's a warrior sequence. If you'd like to learn the advanced sequence and learn how I can custom design a program for you, click over to Aubrey's Yoga Studio, whatever, you know?
Yeah,
and it's the same. You can do the same thing. People make courses on Udemy, udemy.com. There's Lynda, Lynda. There's Coursera. There's all these different places. I also, if you guys are interested, I have additional training programs to teach you exactly how to create your online expert empire. In this case, you could do it in yoga. So contact us if you're interested in that as well. Don't want to get too far off track, but I want to let you know that that's available to you. This is where you can multiply your time. Imagine you make a yoga program that costs $50, okay? And the internet is 24/7, 365, and there's, 160, 170 countries in the world? I forget. It changes. The borders switch sometimes. I don't know exactly how many. It's a lot. And probably 25% of them speak English. Or maybe you are bilingual. Maybe you speak Spanish as your primary language. You can serve those markets as well. Those people can buy your yoga program 24 hours a day. Even while you're sleeping, you can serve people. And then you can go back and do all that charity work live and in person because you're making money with yoga online. That's just one example. I just want you to know that the opportunities and the possibilities are endless. You're only limited by creativity. You're willing to serve and add value and work diligently. If you're a personal trainer, or maybe you do sports coaching or even martial arts, personal training or one of those added with Sport Yoga Instruction, you can do a bundle. So there was one lady who actually used to come in. She was a yogini that used to come into our jiu-jitsu class. And she was a jiu-jitsu practitioner, but she also was a very proficient yoga instructor. And so she would do yoga in combination with the jiu-jitsu classes and working in concert with the jiu-jitsu instructors. But if you are a proficient martial arts instructor, you can also do yoga, and maybe you can do a half class, like half yoga, half jiu-jitsu. Maybe you do that like on some special nights. Or you could modify the sport yoga specifically for jiu-jitsu. And in fact, she taught sport yoga and massage therapy. That was her bundle.
Cool.
Yeah. And so it's really, really neat. Another thing you can do if you're a body worker is, and people do, sometimes they call it intuitive body work or yoga therapy, is if you're a body worker, that's a fancy way of saying massage therapy, but it's kind of an all-inclusive term. You can put people in these postures while you're doing different manual therapy on them because the joint is opened up, and then you're talking through it at the same time, so then the mind relaxes more and you actually get a greater benefit.
People love that.
Yeah, it's really incredible. So I'm just, we keep going off track, but I want you to know that there's so many opportunities, so many facets to this. You're not going to just be standing around touching your toes and trying to do the splits all day. You have a lot of options, and it's really, really incredible. You can make information products and do online courses. We talked about that, so I'm just going to mention it again here. You can make a downloadable program. You can we're going to talk about books in a second, but you can do a digital book. You can do a Kindle book. Which is an information product. You can do online courses which are how-tos. It can be like a 30-day home yoga transformation. You can, or 15-minute yoga, a sport yoga fix, or whatever you're doing, and help someone that, maybe they're busy, or maybe you do a travel sport yoga program for busy travelers, because anyone can do yoga in their hotel room. There's enough room to lay down a darn mat. Yeah. They can do that. So maybe you create a yoga program for travelers and sell it online, and that's your $25 program or $50 program. So easy. You can create a membership site, create a yoga community. There's a program called Member Mouse, which is very inexpensive. You can create a Facebook group and then do Zoom videos with the Facebook group and do a membership program like that. You can use Wishlist Member, and Wishlist is what ENESTA and Spencer Institute use for most of their programs. It's done on Wishlist, which is part of WordPress, and that's very inexpensive. So I'm just giving you options. You do not have to do any of this. I just want you to know that you have many, many options. If you want to teach a class 5 hours a day in a spa and a resort, maybe on a cruise ship, you can do that too. You're not limited. Corporate wellness. You would work with the human resources department, probably, and the corporations will pay you, most cases. Sometimes they'll have employees who want to participate pay a small fee, but if you get 20 people and each person pays $10, you're making $200 a class. That's pretty good money. That's all. Actually, that's a lot. That's a lot. That's like 6 or 7 times higher than the average American hourly income. Pretty darn good. But corporate wellness is usually done through the human resources department. You can do this at lunch. You can also go in and do what's called a lunch and learn, where you're going to go into a corporation and talk with the people about the benefits of yoga. And that's a good way of acquiring new students. And you can just do some fundamental movements that people can do with or without their shoes. And that, if they wore something that isn't yoga-esque, they can still benefit from it. And you can do some simple postures, but talk about, the benefits and why people want to do it, and stress management. Stress and having stress reduction and having a healthier workforce. The new data is that for every dollar invested by a corporation, they get a $3 return. So it's a 3-to-1 ROI, which is incredible. If you guys are interested in this and you want to take the sport yoga, all the way into corporations, the Spencer Institute, our sister school, has a corporate wellness coach certification, which teaches you the entire business model of building a corporate wellness business, and then you can add in sport yoga. So there you go. There's another option. You can host a yoga lifestyle podcast. And you might be thinking, well, that's cool, but how do I make money? And the answer is you can advertise your own business on your podcast. On my TV show that I have, I advertise my own coaching program on my own TV show. So you can do that as well. You can also get paid advertisement. If you get enough followers and listeners and download your tribe, you can sell advertising and supplement your income with that. And also, if you have a huge following of something like this, you become an authority. You become an influencer. You know who these people are on Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, Facebook. You know who these people are. And there's no reason you can't do exactly the same, and even more. Now, you can write a yoga lifestyle book. This can be an ebook, like a PDF download. It can be a Kindle book. You can self-publish. You can do print on demand, where basically you don't have to print several in advance, and there are many print-on-demand services that are associated with and also part of Amazon. There's many different ways of doing this. You can do a coffee table book on yoga and make it beautiful and very pictorial and more of the whole lifestyle. You can have vegan, vegetarian, non-GMO, organic recipes in there. You can talk about creating a better home environment, to go with this whole holistic yoga lifestyle. There's so many things you can do. Your possibilities are truly endless. Here's another thing that people do. This is very common, is after you become a certified sport yoga instructor, you can combine it with wellness coaching. You technically combine it with anything, but there's 3 things that people tend to combine sport yoga with. It's the certified wellness coach from the Spencer Institute, or the stress management coach, or the holistic life coach, because they're complementary. It's synergistic. You can do anything you want, but those 3 make the most sense to me, but you have to do what makes you happy. But it does make sense, right? Because wellness is all-encompassing, it's holistic, it's well-rounded, and so is yoga. And when you enhance your yoga, you enhance your wellness. And fitness and yoga is a component of wellness. Wellness is all-inclusive. Wellness is health, fitness, wellness, stress management, relationships, environment, and so for some cases, for some people, it's spirituality as well. But it's all of these things, and yoga can be a component of that. So, I'm excited.
Me too.
As you can see, you have many career choices and truly endless opportunities. So what do you do now? We have a special for you. You're going to hear about it here in just a second. You're going to click the graphic to the side. It probably popped up a few minutes ago. And you can register to earn your certification as a sport yoga instructor. And remember, we are always here to answer your questions no matter what. And we support you each step of the way, not just during your studies, but during your exam, after your exam, when you are going to continue your education and continue your studies. We have groups on Facebook. We have newsletters. We have our blog. We have live events. There's so many different things that you can do to continue to grow with ENESTA. So we're always here for you to help you become even better over time. Speaking of time, your time is now. This is the opportunity you want and need to begin or expand your yoga instructor career. So we have a special one-time offer. This isn't available anywhere else at any other time. Right now, because you stuck to the end of this web class, you can save 20% right now. Take 20% off the registration investment of the yoga instructor certification. The coupon code is ILOVENESTA. It's all run together. When you put it in your shopping cart, make sure you click apply and you'll instantly see the savings. I love ENESTA. So thank you. I'll see you on the inside. Register right now. Aubrey, thank you so much.
Thank you. This was awesome. Thank you for listening.
All right, you guys. So use coupon code ILOVENESTA and instantly save 20%. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Enjoy the journey. We're always here for you.